to the Late to the Game podcast at long last, hosted by yours truly, Ellie. I've missed doing this pod so much, but between like travel and technical difficulties, this was the way it just like had to go. But that's in the past, and we're here now, and I am delighted to announce that I'm back for Halloween. And I'm back with one of our dearest friends of the pod, Zac Rogers. He's here.
Woo!
And
I
you
didn't know if
might
I was
know
like supposed to
him.
speak
I mean,
before that.
that's fine. This is the shtick. You
There we
input when
go.
you want. I don't give
Yeah.
instructions. You're a free spirit here.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, that's fine. I was just going to relay your accolades.
Oh, I don't know if I have any, but yeah, sure.
But you guys would know him as one half of the Jump Attack podcast, formerly Nintendo Addiction. And they just have like a hilarious meme page. And this is something we've been able to bond over for like nearly a year now. I think we've
Oh
actually
my
been like,
gosh. Yeah,
I
I
think,
think
I think
so.
we've known each other internet buds for nearly a
Yeah.
year. But yeah, so
IBs.
Zac, how the hell are you and how have you been?
I I have been great. Thank you for the warm introduction and welcome.
You're very welcome.
Um, I feel slightly inadequate because like I see your waveform on the screen and it's like big, and then mine's like really small because I have
That's
condenser
okay.
or compression on my mic.
No, that's
I can turn
great.
myself up. I mean, if you, I was like, I'll just like blaze it like through the roof, like.
Blaze it.
But no, I can't 420 blaze it. I this episode now can't release until April 20th.
Yeah.
So there's an embargo.
All
No,
right.
I've been good. Dave and I have been super busy. Like you said, we moved the page from Nintendo Addiction and the podcast from Nintendo Addiction just to Jump Attack Gaming because we had both for a while.
Hmm.
Um, and it was just like we love Nintendo. Like that's probably our first system and our first love with
Yeah, you
gaming.
grew a
But
huge page on that content, but
yeah, well,
it's
I don't know if I
niche.
told you, we bought that page
Oh,
when it was
yes.
already partially grown. Yeah, so I mean, we still grew it a decent amount from what we got it at.
Hmm.
We definitely put in the man hours to get it there.
You did.
Um, but is that even a saying that's like that you can say still, or is it like I put in the hours, like
Yeah,
because
I mean, I think
you could
ours is definitely
uh,
better,
the, uh,
but
yeah, because I think like man hours to me sounds like I'm like in the 20s and like
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know, like hammering concrete. We put in the hours on the
That's what
page.
you do with concrete. You're right.
Yeah, you just hammer it. I don't know. I've never done a day of physical labor in my life. Um, so I'm the least qualified to say man hours regardless.
I love
But
that.
no, so we definitely put in the hours on the page to grow it a little bit, but it's like you said, it's just so niche.
Mm,
And I'll be honest, like I just got really tired of constantly posting Smash memes
that's
when
totally fair.
I only play a little bit of Smash.
Yeah.
And like it was like Smash, Zelda. This is how specific it got. I have hashtag groups on
Yeah.
keyboard shortcut for
Amazing.
Smash, Zelda, Mario, Animal Crossing, in general, Nintendo, and Pokemon. And so it's like every meme, it was like, okay,
Yeah, that's specific.
those handful. So we expanded it. And Dave and I play a ton of other games too, as you know.
Right.
So it felt like the right move. We lost over 1,000 followers.
Hey, but out of like what, 75,000? Like that's fine.
Now we're at 72. Yep, yep.
Yeah,
So feels good.
deal
Feels
deal.
good. I will. Dave and I will live. I'm gonna speak vicariously, like for Dave, like
Right, right.
because he's not here. You know, he's
He's
for
away.
anybody listening. Yeah, he had a potential exposure to COVID. So as an abundance of caution, we are not recording together. But I
Being
can
very
be Dave.
smart.
Like I'll sit up really tall, be like, hey, I'm Dave.
Go on wild tangents
I'm
about Star Wars and Red Dead
right.
and just speak for a long
I'm
time.
I'm tall and I'm handsome.
Ah, what a jerk.
Backhanded compliment. Not even backhanded. That's just a
That's just a
compliment.
full compliment. Yeah.
So anyway,
I'm
that's my life.
I'm absolutely delighted with your brand change because it means that I can actually
Thank
talk to
you.
you more and be with you guys on your journey. Because
Yes.
before you were like, "Hey, can you come on Nintendo Addiction?" And I was like,
Eh,
the Nintendo I know is Animal Crossing."
which there's nothing
And
wrong with that.
no, but it is kind of a one and done podcast, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um And then I
What
tried
about
to
you?
weasel
What's
my way into Witcher. Like, I was like, I mean, I played it on
there's
the Switch, like, that
it
counts.
it counts for sure. I played it when it was super buggy on, like, PS4. Is that right? PS4 or
Yep,
would it be
that's fair.
PS3?
4, it
Was
came
that on PS3?
it might have been on PS3, but I know it is on
Gosh.
PS4.
Yeah, I got it when it first came out, and obviously with that particular game company, it was buggy, and I didn't beat it.
Yeah, they
I
did a
played
lot
Gwent.
of I hate Gwent. Like,
You
I feel
hate
like
Gwent?
I do,
Hold
and I
on.
feel like I can't be considered a real Witcher fan, but, like, I
I
beg to
gotta
differ.
I gotta call a timeout here.
Oh.
What don't you
Oh,
like about Gwent? I have to whoa, lighting change.
sorry, I don't that was
Spooky.
Yeah, that was intentional. Um, keep talking.
You know, yeah, we'll keep it in. We'll roll with it.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
No, this is
yeah,
all
but no,
in.
I
This is all gold.
I
There you go.
got addicted to Gwent so bad that I literally stopped playing the main game,
Oh my god.
and I would go to, like, areas that were way overpowered for me just so I could find the person in that town to play Gwent with and win their shit. Like, I
That's amazing.
dominated Gwent, and then I got really disappointed because the Gwent iOS game came out,
Mhm.
which I was on a wait list for. I wanted
That's
this game so
hilarious.
bad. I'm not even literally 4 years I waited for this game, maybe 5. Um, and I played it on Xbox first, and I was like, "Eh, okay, it's not that great." But the iOS version, that's where it's gonna be. It's gonna seal it. And they just nuked it. It was I mean,
Oh,
a lot of people like it, so I don't wanna rag on it, but it's not the
it wasn't
Gwent
your
that's in
cup
my
of
heart.
tea. That's fair.
Exactly. So anyway, but what about you though? You asked about what we've been up to. What's new in the world of Ellie?
Uh, barely anything, My life is just a series of technical difficulties.
Yeah,
But
you're telling me. I've
yeah, you had a hell of a
li-
time getting set up if you'd like to tell the viewers or listeners.
yeah, like 2 seconds before we recorded. So we were trying to figure out what time we were recording today and all that. First of all, I couldn't find a USB cable. I have like 85 of these in my house. Like
Yeah,
I do
you're
camera
well
and audio
equipped.
tech for a living. Like this is my job. Um and so I get everything set up in my jank basement right now. And then I try to pull down my backdrop here, and it's all crinkly and awful, and, like, my basement is from the '60s, so it looks I joked that it looks like I have, like, a body off camera, like, it doesn't look nice.
Which that's where we're
So,
saying Dave is.
yes, Dave is well, I mean, for legal reasons, he's at home,
Rest in
but,
pieces.
for for an alibi, he's at home. I really hope, like, apart from the fact that he's a great friend, I hope that Dave doesn't die tonight, and then this is, like,
Oh
evidence
my
against me
god.
for, like I mean, like, for multiple reasons, I hope,
You're
but,
just getting
like
right into the right into, like, the spooky
yeah, we
part
gotta
of
get
our
spooky
pod.
sooner or later.
Yeah. So, what have you been playing lately while we're at it?
I have been knee deep in Far Cry 6,
Oh,
um, and I'm
is
playing it,
that
like
the new one?
yeah, it's the one that just came out with, the guy from Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Uh, I can't remember his name, Gu Gustavo? No, he's Gus Fring in the show, that's why I'm
Okay.
thinking that. But I mean, he's great in it. I've been playing it very incrementally, like, I have, like, 10, 15 minutes in the morning before I leave for work or, like, while my wife is doing whatever in the afternoons, I might have another, like, handful of minutes, but I've only had, like, 2 or 3 real sit down, like, marathon game sessions of it.
Uh-huh.
I was thinking of how I wanted to phrase this
Okay.
because I really, really enjoy playing this game. Like,
Mhm.
it's not as good as Far Cry 4. I don't
Okay.
know if any Far Cry ever will be. Um, and like Far Cry 5 was okay. It was like a little on the nose with American politics.
Okay.
But Far Cry 6, I've had an excellent time playing.
Okay.
I don't think
Good.
it's a good game.
Oh,
I
no.
like I don't even know if I wanna say that. It's they
You can
did
be as
almost
bold as you
nothing
wanna
new.
be here.
I don't know about that. No, it's I just I wanna give the developers the respect that they're due.
Yeah.
Um, but
Mhm.
there's a lot of, and this is my love-hate, right? Like, there's a lot of repeats
Mm,
from Far Cry 3, 4, 5, Blood Dragon, New Dawn, like
okay.
all these ones that are like the formula works, so I change it.
Sure.
But they also like they introduced this new mechanic of like weaknesses to different types of bullets,
Okay.
um, which as the player is a pain in the ass because if you have 10 different enemies firing at you, you can't equip an armor that's going to be
Oh,
strong against all of those.
sure.
And in most cases, you are being fired at by a bunch of different types of enemies.
Okay.
And then
'Cause I was thinking
on the
as you were explaining that, I was like, "Oh, that sounds pretty cool and sounds like it would be accurate to life." But
yeah,
if they're not giving you something to appropriately protect you in a situation like that, that's not really
yeah,
cool.
and even the stuff that does protect you, it's like not enough. Like I've never put on armor against certain types of bullets because there's like it almost feels like the game might be a little imbalanced
Okay.
as much as I hate to say that. Like I only equip armor piercing bullets because no matter what, if you have an armor piercing bullet in
Mhm.
and you shoot someone in the head, doesn't matter if they're a boss or whatever, they die in one hit, which
Oh.
is cool. Like if you're trying to clear out a place and
That
be
does
super
sound a bit
stealthy,
imbalanced though. Like if the opponents have
yeah,
multiple if they have to be tactical about the different bullets and like the style and everything, like you should have to as well. So
right.
that
And
makes
they do have
sense.
weaknesses. It's like, this if you scan it, it's like this enemy's weak against soft armor rounds or whatever, and
Mhm.
it's
But then
but it doesn't
everyone
matter
is
because
weak to this one.
everyone's weak to a headshot, which I guess is true to life,
Fair.
but
Yeah.
yeah. I almost just made some jokes that I maybe yeah, I'm gonna never mind. Gonna skip those jokes. Some
Alright.
historical jokes.
Okay.
I'll take it far enough back that it's politically acceptable.
Okay.
Uh, I was gonna make an Abe Lincoln joke, like,
Oh,
everyone's weak to
yeah,
headshot.
fair. Fair.
Yeah, yeah,
I dig
it's
it.
far enough,
That's
right?
no, too soon.
Too
Um
soon, yeah. There's, like, somebody in, like, a Civil War coat, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
too soon. Uh, anyway, but no, so there's little things like that, and, like, I don't like what they did with the hunting in this game.
Okay.
In the past, it was like you could hunt and then upgrade your, like, holsters and hold more
Mhm.
ammo or more guns, and, it gave you a reason to want to go find these rare animals and hunt
Mhm.
them, and in this one, it's you can hunt so that you can trade for things
Mm,
to upgrade your gear, but there are other ways to upgrade your gear, and you're
that
gonna
doesn't
find the
require
items
that.
you want anyway.
Sure.
Right. Right. So,
Oh.
yeah, so I've been playing Far Cry 6, thoroughly enjoying it, having a great
Mhm.
time. But,
But just not sure about it.
I yeah, I love it. I don't think it's a great game.
That's fair. I
So,
still think that's a good review, all things considered.
well, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome, I approve. Uh, yeah, so the
I
game's,
guess unless you were saying that's a good review, like, it's good for the game, or was it good for like, I did a good job reviewing?
I think it's holistically a good review. It's constructive with
Okay,
its feedback,
okay.
and it's still positive that you enjoy it. So I
Because I
think
realized I just had, like, maybe a big self-esteem moment where I'm like, "Oh, yeah, thank you. I did a great job
you
reviewing
did
that."
amazing, sweetie. Let's have you
I
back.
need I need a gold star, please and thank you.
Yeah, I've been going between a good few games because I'm trying to like just cover more bases rather than just like pick all
Yeah,
the giant RPGs that I'm obsessed with. Um and then just only living in that world for like months. So
right.
I've been working my way through the original Final Fantasy VII.
Okay.
I'm nearly finished with Uncharted 3. And I've like barely played Red Dead. Like it's such a big game
Yeah.
that what I have done is not a dent to the story.
Are you playing the remake of Final Fantasy VII?
I already did that, and it is like the thing I'm most obsessed with ever. Actually,
Okay.
this is one of my new tattoos, and it's for a remake.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Um, and but now I'm going back to playing the original. And so I have it on my
Okay.
Switch and it's like the really cute, like boxy, like
Yeah,
sprites.
yeah.
Like their arms look like bowling pins. They're so fucking cute. So to the heart of the matter, spooky
Yes.
games.
Ooh. Are
So I
you a There we go again. See, it just happened. Perfect
We were both I
example.
think we were definitely both gonna ask the exact same question, though. So I was going to ask you, are you in any way a horror game enthusiast?
In the biggest way. I
Really?
I love horror games.
Oh,
Oh
that's
my, I
very
can't get
exciting.
enough of them. Yeah. What about you?
Okay. I am new and broaching the subject. I'm an absolute coward, but I think they're amazing. Like,
Do you
I
like horror movies?
yes, no, yes, I do. It's just I'm very
Okay.
dependent on the genre. Like you, I mean, I've gone on your podcast and talked about this so many times about how much like my favorite phrase, I am a slut for narrative design. And
Yeah,
so
sure.
I I think what goes into making a horror game makes my heart just explode. It's so full. Like
Right.
it has to be so brilliantly done to affect you in such a specific way. And like to dive into that mindset of like, okay, what is the most unpleasant thing, but still a person can stand? And how do we create that and
Right.
epitomize that for an entire experience?
Yes.
Like when you think of like The Last of Us Part 2, I know like I haven't played it, but I
Oh,
do know that that ending section is like it drags on because the characters feel like it's dragging on. And I just like that like meta kind of
it's
experience. Oh, it's so good.
hell yes. Though
I just
I
love
I
that.
could go off about The Last of Us Part 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Literal perfection in the form of games, in my opinion.
I'm working
Um,
my horror stamina up to playing those because I know as like a
they're not that
narrative
scary.
design shut your mouth. I know
No,
as a
they're not.
narrative design person, I I have to play them, but I am
Right.
deeply a coward. And I'm working on
The I really like I to my core, like, I'm a big horror guy, like,
it.
every short film that I've done has some horror element to it, if it's
Ooh,
not a
okay.
full-blown horror movie,
Ooh,
which Dave is always in too because he's, like, my favorite actor friend,
naturally.
um, and,
And don't
like, I mean,
forget
he's,
he's
like,
beautiful and tall, so
beautiful and tall, dark, and handsome, and he can, like, pull, like, he'll grow a mustache and look great with it, or, like, grow out his hair, and it'll look great. I'm over here, like, my hairline every time he grows his hair and it looks nice, my hairline goes back an inch,
He just
like
takes it from yours, yeah.
right, exactly, that's why I'm always wearing a hat. Um,
I
but
actually didn't know
I
that about you,
I
so you're doing well.
oh, well, thank you. Yeah, no,
Mhm.
I already told my wife, I'm like, "It has, like, another centimeter to go back, and then I'm just shaving it." Like,
That's
I'll
fair.
go bald with a beard for life, like,
Do it.
not not even fighting it.
It's a
But,
look.
I'm I'm deeply entrenched in the horror world. I love it.
Okay.
I
I'm so
I I
glad I
just I'm a
asked you. It
huge
would've been
fan.
terrible if we both were like, "No, we don't like it."
No, it's not great. Thank you
Silence
guys
for the
so much
next
for
4
listening, right? Um, but I just there's something about it that just, like, deeply appeals to me, and I don't know why. Because 'cause I'm, like, the farthest thing from, like, a dark
Yeah.
personality, like, I'm pretty happy but even, like, on the way home today, I was when I say jamming, I mean, I was jamming to some My Chemical Romance, like, their old stuff
Amazing.
when it was, like,
I was
really
singing them earlier
grungy and, like,
today.
so good,
Yeah.
so good, like, oh, mwah, chef's kiss, so good, but anyway, so, the point that I'm getting at is The Last of Us Part 1 and 2,
Mhm.
I would qualify those as thriller narratives
Mhm.
with moments of horror
Right.
because the scary moments are more based around the feeling of entrapment and the feeling of you're just surrounded by these things. Like the things themselves are a little creepy, but they're
I don't know
not
how
like
you're okay with saying that phrase and thinking that that's not a scary game. Like, oh, it just makes you feel like you're surrounded by enemies and they're trapped, and, like, some of the creatures are, like, pretty scary, but, like, not all of them, and, like, it
not
just has
but
these
they're
bursts of moments where it's like, "Whoa."
the
Like
clickers are scary. The
oh my
clickers
god.
are creepy because
Yes.
they walk around and they as their
Horrible.
namesake, suggests they click.
Yes.
And you can so it's a really cool like oral
Uh-huh.
horror. That's hard to say oral horror. It sounds
Yeah.
like I'm like struggling for air. But I but that like that's I mean, I'll just say auditory, I guess is a better word. But they're the best enemy in the game, I think. But
Oof.
but that to me is not a scary game. Like that's like an
Oh, here's
action
where you're
thriller.
wrong.
Well, you
See,
gotta get
here's
to it.
my
It's so
counterpoint.
good. Sure.
Um,
Let me hear it.
so as like community members that are returning to this podcast will undoubtedly know because it's one of the best stories of my gaming experience. And you might even know it. Uh, the first time that I played Uncharted 1,
Yeah.
there was you play 90 literally 90% of the game. There is a percentage marker that it gives you whenever you change
Mhm.
chapters and stuff. 90% of the way through the game, it's just like you just have like random shootouts. It's like fun, puzzly. You're climbing around and exploring these like
Sure.
beautiful, beautiful areas. And then at the 90% marker, you are suddenly entombed in this like giant, giant space that is like in its own stunning. There's a shootout, and then you climb up the stairs and zombies come out like
Amazing. Oh,
out
that's
of
awesome.
out of nowhere. And like and I this was one of my like this is one of the first games I ever completed. And so like I wasn't like it was like Witcher 3 was before that. And
Mhm.
like I can deal with monsters, especially if I'm expecting them. But the whole game, you played everything at like range, you know? And then
Right.
suddenly there was a swarm of zombies that was coming in that you just
That's
had to fend
incredible.
off until someone like a timed encounter until someone
Right.
dropped a ladder down for you. And then the rest of the game you play it in like in and out of these like rusty bunkers with these horrible zombies that is like this awful mechanic where they're
Oh my
zombies so they
gosh.
jump at you, but these ones are fast. And so like oh my god, that like my partner had recommended the game to me because he was like, I think you'll love this. and and then
Partner got in trouble.
I played it and we literally got in a fight. Like, I was like, "You said that I was gonna love this game, and now I'm just scared and I don't wanna finish it." And he was like, "Gabs, like, you're gonna be okay."
Like,
Like
it's okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Oh
he
my
he was
gosh.
absolutely shocked that that was my experience with it. And mind you, Uncharted is like the furthest thing from a horror game, but it's just those mechanics and being responsible for the person that has to survive is like something I cannot deal
Right.
with. And The Last of Us is done so unbelievably well, and it is meant to torment you.
Yes.
And I've seen the creatures, and I just know I'm
Yes.
not strong enough for it. I'm not yet. I'm not proud, I will
I
admit that
mean,
that looks horrifying to me.
and I don't wanna, like, add to the amount of time it's gonna take you to mentally prep to play this game,
It's a long
but,
time,
like,
don't worry.
even the disease that like, is infecting the zombies is, like, a real thing. I don't know if you knew that. Um,
I
it's
didn't.
based off of yeah, it's based off of a fungus that, it grows on ants,
Ugh.
and it literally takes over their brains,
I
and
have
it
actually I know about that fungus,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so, that's what the whole
Oh, that's
the
fascinating.
entire story is based on. It's super cool.
Oh, that's actually
Brilliant,
really
absolutely
cool that
brilliant.
they based it in a little bit of reality. It wasn't just like
Right?
Umbrella where they're like, "We created
Right.
reality." Like
Hey, hey, you leave Umbrella out of this. I love Resident Evil.
listen, you can pour
You
water all over your hand and you'll be fine forever.
there you go. Yep, that's exactly it. I
Ugh.
don't know how you heal your wounds, but that's how I take care of myself.
Yeah, I mean, I love a bit of
Um,
hand water.
but, but right now we're that just, like, stunk in with me what you just said. Um, I we're talking though mostly about action games with horror elements.
Yes.
Um, what I wanna touch on it's your
Oh.
podcast, so if you don't wanna touch on this, then
No,
just
listen, you're used to being
cut
a
the
host. We can go back and forth.
I know, I can't help myself, like, I've hosted so many that I'm just like, "Let's touch on this." Um, but I I wanna talk about games that are meant to just, like, emotionally and psychologically bring that sense of dread and
Okay.
terror. Um, and the game that I think does that or historically has done that the best isn't Resident Evil, while those
Mhm.
games are great. It's not even The Evil Within. That's like
Okay.
a really kinda like deep-seated game. Uh, it's PT. I don't know if you've
Oh,
played
I
PT.
wanted to play it, really badly because I know that's the one that,
Yeah.
like, it just has the demo, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
so I went to play it and you can't download it anymore. It's, like,
You
gone.
can't. I have it on my PS4, and I won't
Just
erase my
can't
PS4's
yeah.
hard drive. Like, just because of that, because like, it's I feel like I have a piece of history on there.
You do?
Um,
It's a relic? Yeah, but
that
so talk
is
to me about
the
that because 'cause I've heard it's terrifying.
have you watched any gameplay, or do you know anything
I
about it?
actually haven't. I think, like, I
Okay.
mean, it's extraterrestrial stuff, right? Like, it's just very
Uh,
supernatural?
it's supernatural for sure.
Okay.
It's so it's a playable teaser, PT,
Mhm.
for, it was gonna be Silent Hills, like the new Silent Hill game.
Oh, okay.
And then all this crap happened, and it was Guillermo del Toro and Hideo Kojima.
Oh, wow,
And
okay.
so they ended up,
Wow,
like,
it's
kind
probably
of
so meta.
it's it's, like, very meta and very I mean, it's Hideo Kojima, so it's like,
Mhm.
if your cognition is here,
He's,
he
like,
is,
out
like, on
of
the 3rd
frame.
floor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, um, but it doesn't present itself as pretentious at all, like, it's
That's
just
new for him.
you
Okay.
yeah, I mean, maybe it's just to me because maybe I'm a little pretentious, I don't know, but you wake up in this room,
Mhm.
and you walk down a hallway, and you turn right, and then there's a small staircase, like a third of a staircase,
Okay.
and another door.
Uh-huh.
When you open that door, it plays an animation of you walking through, so you can't, like, open it and go back. When
Okay.
you go through the door, you're at the beginning of the hallway again, and you can
Okay.
go straight and turn right, and the entire game takes place in this loop of a hallway. It's
Okay.
it's so simple, but
Uh-huh.
every time there's, like, little new things that happen, and
Mhm.
there's, like, a radio talking about a murder that happened, in this neighborhood and
Oh.
in this house, and, like, it's somewhat random,
Mhm.
when this person pops up, but there's, like, the ghost is named Lisa, and she's just around, like, you'll look out of a window, and she'll be out there, like, twitching, like, her head's twitching.
Ooh.
There's one where oh my goodness, my dog is running around like crazy upstairs. There's one where you look down the hall and you see this giant, like 9-foot tall, ghostly figure just like twitching, and
Nope, don't like
you
that.
can't go back. You can only go toward it. A and it's just like these moments that make you confront your fear
Mm,
and make you like you tense up and then your guard's down. And then you tense up and your guard's down for a second.
yeah.
And you do end up exploring, like there's a little bit of, like, a psychedelic almost aspect to it where
Okay.
you start to go a little bit insane and, like, you find this
Naturally.
weird little, like, baby thing in a sink, and it's
Ooh.
crying, and it's freaky. So it does get a little bit like, that's where you get into kind of, like, where I saw a little bit more of, like, the Guillermo del Toro
Okay.
influence. I I really hope that I'm not wrong about that. That's what I knew about the game. Um, but I mean, but even Hideo Kojima has kind of that weird, weirdness to his games.
Uh-huh.
Um, but there are multiple ways to, like, get through the game. Like, once you beat the game, you have to go back and then re-beat certain areas.
Oh.
At least I had to. You might be able to do it all in one fell swoop, but you
Yeah,
can,
get
like,
good,
collect
Zach.
I know, I suck at games. I've never claimed to be good at games, but it gets so creepy because, like, as this guy's talking about, these murders in the neighborhood, he'll interrupt himself and just start going like 4, 1, 6, 8, and like numbers, and you're just like, it's this existential dread because you're like, what
What
in
are
the
you
hell is
counting to?
happening? Right. And then what I deem to be the worst moment in gaming history
Oh, no.
is he says, look behind you.
And you haven't been able to
And
do
then
that
he's
the entire time.
you can like turn around, like you can look around, but like when you're looking forward and someone
Uh-huh.
says, "Look behind you," you don't wanna look, so I froze, and the voiceover says, "I said, look behind you," and I'm like, I was a son of a bitch, and so I turned around, and then I got jump scared,
Mhm.
but you don't always get jump scared when that happens, like, it plays with your mind because it doesn't happen when you think it's going to,
I feel like I would have
and
bolted forward. I'd been like, "Absolutely not. I'm not listening to what you're saying."
right,
Like
but, oh my god, I get, like, gross chills when I think about it because it's
Yeah.
so like, when I think about horror games, like, that's the type of game, like, if you can instill and, like, The Evil Within did that a little bit, where it was, like, these just, like, almost, like, where it puts you in the actual spot of the player, where
Mm.
if the player's going insane, you're going insane.
Yeah.
Um, did you I know, like, your brand is late to the game. Did
Mhm.
you ever play, Eternal Darkness: Sanity's Requiem on GameCube?
No, I did
Oh,
not.
that's that's another good one. It's not scary because of, like, boo. I mean, there's
Mm,
one really scary jump scare, but it wouldn't hold up probably as well now. It has, like, a big cult classic following around it,
cool.
but it, at the time, and this is still, like, mind-boggling to me that somebody thought of this on the GameCube and, like, that
Uh-huh.
time. Um, there's a sanity system. So when you look at a monster, you don't necessarily lose health, but you lose your sanity a little bit.
Wait,
And
I think I
as
do know about this.
yeah, and, like,
I
as you lose
do.
your sanity, stuff starts to happen, like, it would make it look like it would turn the TV volume down, or it would,
You've
like
talked to me about this actually.
I probably have. I'm such a
Yeah.
huge geek about this game, it's
No,
so
because
cool.
because those mechanics are wild, and, like, it would have broken my little
Yeah.
kid brain. Yeah.
And it did for me, like, there was one I genuinely panicked once because I hit pause and it said, "Erasing save data," and I was like, No!" I was flipping out, and then, like, it does, like, the screen flash, and it's like, "Oh, I'm losing my mind," like, or something like that, I
Oh
forget what the
my
phrase
god,
is,
that's
but,
so cool.
uh like, games that can do that, that can really draw you in to put you in the seat, like, really truly in the driver's seat of the character,
Mm,
where there's no longer that barrier, and, like, it doesn't have to be a silent protagonist, like, you can just be that character for a minute, and it's, like, just enough of, like, I don't even wanna say, like, an RPG, like, you're not really role playing as the character, but you are the role of that character
mhm.
for the time that you're playing the game, and that's so cool to me when a game can do that and scare the hell out of you at the same
Yeah, just,
time.
like, very, very immersive. Um,
Right. That's my tirade, that's what I was
no,
excited to talk about.
that was a good tirade.
Thank you, thank you.
I'm sorry I can't add to it. Um, no, so, I, like as I said, I'm on a journey. I'm trying to get stronger so that I can play The
Sure.
Last of Us. Um, and for some reason, I'm starting to build my spooky bitch vibes. Um,
Spooky bitch vibes.
I'm
I want that on
I
a t-shirt.
I do too. Um, but I really love watching horror games because I just love seeing how
Okay.
effective it is. Um, but then, like, there's a small part of me that is like, "But you should play it because you should see how
Right.
you react with it." Because, like, I'm getting jump scares watching shit, like, let alone if I
Right.
actually play it. Um,
Yeah.
and so last Friday, I believe it was, Supermassive Games released another one of their Dark Pictures anthology, and
Okay.
they released House of Ashes. Um, and I saw like a little bit of the gameplay, and I got really, really excited because it like the dark. Do you know anything about the Dark Pictures anthology?
No, I haven't heard of it.
Okay, so it is you can play it like past the pad style or you can just like
Okay.
do it yourself, but you're in control of a set of characters and it's the butterfly effect stuff like you've heard of Until Dawn, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it's that style game. I'm pretty sure Supermassive
Okay.
Games also made that. I could be wrong. But so you're in control of all of these characters, and you are definitely in control of whether they have a gruesome death or if they survive until the end of whatever this journey is. Um,
Right.
and the thing that connects all of these, because all the stories seem very, very random. There's one where there's like it's like kind of witchy. And
Mhm.
like ghost types of stuff, and that's in Little Hope. And then there was this one where it takes place like it starts out in ancient Iraq, and then it moves to present day Iraq. Um, and
Okay,
it's
interesting.
like this shit. Like I'm gonna talk so much about this game. It was so fun. But the thing that connects all of them together is this character called the Curator, and he is like the
Okay.
curator of tales. And so each game
Mm.
that you go into, it's like this meta version. Like he talks to you like straight to camera and tells you
Right.
about like, this is the journey you're going on. And I'm not here to help you. I'm just here to monitor how the tale turns out in your hands, basically.
Hmm.
And he's this
That's a cool
like
concept.
it's very cool. And And so there are always like acts to the game. So there were 3 acts in House of Ashes. And so between each one, you meet up with the curator again, and he's like, "Oh, I see you killed another one." Or just like all of
Right.
this, like monitoring the way that you're affecting this, like, quote unquote history. Um, and it's really, really cool. But so I saw a bit of the gameplay for House of Ashes, and I saw that it took place in ancient Iraq, and it was like demon
Mhm.
looking stuff, and like not possession, um, but just like it was just sickness, but like it turned them into like these
Yeah.
like insane demons. And like, tell me if you don't want me to spoil it quickly,
No, no, no.
actually.
Yeah, go for it. I forget things so quickly that if I pick it
Okay.
up, I'll be like, "Ooh, this is brand new."
Okay, right. So then for the listeners or watchers, skip ahead because I'm about to spoil like all of the game.
Sure.
Um,
For the watchers, enjoy my nice background as well.
yes.
With, like,
um,
the half dead light over here. Okay, anyway.
so the what the concept of the game ends up being is that whenever you start out in ancient Iraq, there are these 2 characters that you get to play as, and there is this sickness that is taking over the you know outside of the emperor's palace, basically his like pyramid,
Mhm.
and these 2 are the only ones left, but the plague has moved inside. And so like these characters obviously die, but one of them gets turned because it's actually about alien vampires. And
Alright, let's go.
so cool. So through the process of the game, um because it's in Iraq, and they said it actually the present day version of it is in 2003, so it's like shortly after 9/11, and there's
Okay.
these political issues because there is an Iraqi soldier. I hope that's the right term. Um, and he ends up being a part of your like team, basically, if you decide
Mhm.
that. And there are five US Marines, 4 US Marines that are also going on this journey. And what happens is there's like a big shootout because they're trying to get into an underground silo of like weapons cache, basically. And they end up
Mhm.
dropping into these ancient pyramids. Um, and so then all of them start getting like afflicted by and like,
This sounds
accosted.
incredible, like, I
It's
wanna
so fun.
this is awesome.
And so like they get accosted by these like vampire things, but they just look like demons. Like they don't like you wouldn't know, like they're not like traditional like kind of like vampires, you know?
What was that again? How are vampires?
Um a little bit of ASMR for you all. You're welcome. But so it's actually the reason like the vampire part of them is a sickness, and it was an alien race where on their ship they got infected and crash landed before like ancient Mesopotamia. And so
Okay.
their entire like their massive 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 ship and like basically like a small civilization is
Hmm,
underneath the pyramids. And so like you
that's kind of awesome.
it's really cool. And like the reason like they were previously like a peaceful people, and like they communicate like their language was communicating like via music. But then it
Okay,
was just
yeah.
this infection changed them into these bloodthirsty, furious vampires. And so your mission then is
Sounds
like
amazing.
it's so fucking cool. And then like your mission then obviously is to just like survive until until you can call your rescue team because you're so far
Right.
down and you've fallen. Um
You'll have to send me the name of this game because I wanna
I
check this
will, I
out.
will. Um
Yeah.
so, there, so I saw this and I got very, very excited to play it. And because I was just like, I can deal with this. This is the kind of scary I can deal with. And it's like it's a lot of quick time
Right.
action as well. So you have to just like be on it sometimes. and
Right.
so I was like, I don't know if I can play it on my own though. And I know you can do pass the pad. So I like my partner was coming over for the weekend and I was like, can we play this start to finish? And he was like, yeah, sure. um, and so we did it. We did it start to finish, but there was this one character and he was the Iraqi soldier. And
Mhm.
he, like how in horror games there is always just like there has to be someone that represents you but a little bit better. Like
Yeah,
there's
yeah, of
always
course,
gonna
yeah.
be these unrealistic characters that are able to just persevere against all odds, and you're like, "How the fuck I couldn't possibly
Right,
be this resilient." Um, but so there's the Iraqi soldier, his name is Salim, and, like, from moment 1, like, Ned and I were just like, "Okay, save Salim at all costs. Anyone else can die,
right,
Salim has to live." And he was one of my characters, so I just had to be, like, good and making really good decisions, and I
right.
saved him. Um,
Nice. Congratulations.
but, like, there was his first encounter with one of the Vampire, um, it, like, obviously it has horrible, like, attack graphics where it's, like, really jerky and it, like, flies in on you and tries to go for your neck and
Right.
everything, and you find out you like, if a stake through the heart is what kills it, and,
Sure.
and
Naturally.
so he, like, manages to pull metal out of somewhere and stake one through the heart, and then after, he has the most unhinged laughter because, like 'cause, like, he just lived somehow through that, and he was like, "What the fuck is that?" And then he just laughed, and I was
That's
like, "Salim
awesome.
is everything." I was like, "Salim is my boy." I was like, "I have to have him for the whole game." Um, and it was just it was such a good experience, and it's really, like, it's turning me, like, I want
Yeah.
I was like,
You want,
it
like,
was a good
more.
kind of scared, but,
Yeah, yeah.
you know.
There's and I think that's a thing, like, right, you gotta build up to being actually scared, like,
Yes.
you can't just jump right into PT.
No.
Um, I will say, though, there's still one type of horror game that I'm not nuts about,
Okay.
um, and it's the I don't wanna say survival horror, because I don't mind
Oh,
survival
okay.
horror.
Okay.
I don't like run and hide horror,
Uh
where it's where the game is figuring out the enemy's route and hiding at the right time.
Yeah, I'm very
To
so,
me,
like, Alien Isolation is not your game.
yes, no, I hated it. I
Yeah.
hated it so much because, for a few reasons. One, to me, that's not horror, that's just stress, and, like, that's you know what I mean? Like,
That's
it's just
fair.
like
Yeah.
it's not fun, it's like, this is genuine stress, and 2, there's no I I'm speaking very broadly here, so, your listeners will have to forgive me if there are exceptions
That's
to this rule,
fine.
which I know there are, but there's no game to it. Like, that's not a
Mm.
game. That's recognizing a pattern of where your enemy character is walking,
Mhm.
hiding at the right time, and then trying to sprint to the next area
That is
that you
stress, you're
hide,
right, that is
and
just stress.
right, and then you lose your world immersion as well because
Yeah.
you're not taking in, like, Alien Isolation. I didn't even get that far because when the robots were attacking me before the
Oh,
alien was, I'm
stop.
like, I don't wanna play
Like,
Robot
what's even
Isolation. This is
happening there? Yeah.
right. And so, but even at that point, I was like, I'm not observing this beautiful map that these game
Mm.
designers created. Instead, I'm looking for the locker that I can hide in next.
Yeah,
And
right.
and it
No,
just kind
that's
of for
fair.
me those yeah, like those games become so monotonous. And if there's moments of that, I don't mind it. Like in spoiler alert for Resident Evil Village.
Oh, yeah.
So skip,
I've watched
you know,
2
a minute ahead.
playthroughs of that.
So good. It's incredible. But so you'll know what I'm talking about. There's a
Mhm.
moment, there's a part where you lose all your weapons and there's this
Mhm.
giant freaking baby monster that
Horrible.
chases you down. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
Um and you only have to hide a couple times. But they did it in the perfect way because you
They
don't
changed your
encounter it
path as
until
well.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And you don't encounter it until you've already experienced the map. You've
Mhm.
gotten to know the space, you know what's around you, you don't feel the need to explore. You
Uh-huh.
just your only objective is to hide for a
Mhm.
minute and pay a little bit of attention to where it's at. The other thing is when you come face to face with it, he's kinda slow or it
Yeah.
is kinda slow. So you have some time to
Yeah, I
process
love how you assigned a
their
gender to that just, like, ring of teeth. Like
right. Ring of teeth.
like
What are your pronouns?
Yeah.
Row! Like
It also has the cutest giggle in the entire world as well, so I feel like that makes it, like it's
No, it's
unnerving while it's also, like, nice.
I I can't give that the title of the cutest giggle. That was like
Really? I thought it was
that
so
was
cute.
pure pure horror. That segment scared the bejesus out of me. Um, Especially when you go to put, like, the key back in and then you turn around and he's right there. It
They
right
timed that
there.
so well.
Yeah. And so, like, moments like that are fine, but when it's a game that's just like Outlast, it's just run
Mhm.
and hide.
I
Or,
I would not be able for Outlast, like, I actually just, like, would cry and be, like, not okay. Like,
well,
I
yeah, it puts you into, like, shutdown mode, and it puts you in a position where again, I keep going back to, like, when I play a game, I want to be in that environment for a little bit,
Hmm,
and if there are chase moments or hide moments, that's fine, but when that's your mechanic, to me, that's just dull.
yeah, that's fair. Yeah, because I feel like at the same time that the fear would become very monotonous, it would also just be like, okay, I'm just constantly afraid. like,
Right,
in a game, like any good game design needs to breathe. Like there has to be
right,
like moments of safety. There has to be moments where your brain isn't like power drive. Um,
right.
and yeah, so I find some of those games like, ooh.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And I don't know if this was Outlast or not. You said you haven't played Outlast?
No, but I've also watched playthroughs of 1 and 2. See what
Okay,
I mean? Like, I
is
love absorbing
is
it, but I don't wanna play it.
is Outlast the one that starts with the camcorder and you have batteries that you put in?
Yeah.
Am I
That's
remembering
the
that
main
correct?
function, yeah.
Yeah. So, the beginning of Outlast
Mm.
was amazing
Mhm.
because you like, it did certain little things where, uh, you were going down a hallway and you just see this long stretch of hallway in front of you, and you start to go down it, and it gives you an instruction on screen, like a tutorial instruction that says, press whatever to
Mhm.
look behind you while running.
Horrible. Absolutely horrible.
While
That's such a mean
amazing,
tease to
right?
be like, "You're gonna need this." Just a little
And I don't think you do right away. Like, I think
It's
and so,
just
like, things like that,
strategic,
like, if
yeah.
you can yeah, if you can build that up, that's amazing. Um,
Did you play Outlast
yeah,
2?
I just no, I didn't. I
So
didn't.
there's this function that I was thinking I was when I was watching the playthrough of it, I was thinking it was quite cheeky. Um, because rather than connecting all of the story pieces, what the game did was like you play there's like this horrible cultist village and it's grotesque and it's
Mhm.
everything that you imagine Outlast is, there's like people that have been flayed, there's
Yeah.
just, you know, weird amounts of like very very devoted religion. um
Right.
but every time that you get to like a story beat where like it's the suspense is like peak level and like you have to somehow make it to something that's like further away on a map you don't even have, it
Right.
switches into a psychological thing where you're now running through a school, and so you have
Ooh,
to
okay.
complete your own like puzzly section in the school where that's like helping you put together different pieces of the story. But it starts doing that so frequently at the end, and you don't actually make your way between different sections of the map. And I thought, like, after a point, I thought that was like a bit cheeky. Like,
Yeah.
I think at some point, especially in horror, like you can break expectation because like
Right.
it would often be parallel images as well. So like if you were climbing up a ladder after you just ran away from some sort of like, Mr. X type boss, then like you were going up the ladder and then suddenly you were in a ladder in a school, or just
Right.
like it would do all that parallel imagery and stuff. So then you kind of like were waiting for specific cues, and I think if they would have broken that expectation like at a really like high suspense moment, that would have been really powerful. But it generally just went like it
Yes.
looped in that way.
Speaking of breaking expectations, um, have you heard of the game, Spooky's House of Jump Scares?
No, but that sounds like everything I would never play.
It's it's adorable, first of all.
Okay.
Um, so it's like,
Did you sense the disbelief in that
it's
tone, by the way?
oh, yeah, I did. Oh, yeah, I did. It almost looks like, it's 3D, but it's, like, really low poly 3D, like,
Okay. That
almost
makes it
looks like
better.
Doom.
Makes it easier.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, and you start off and you're in, there's this cute little ghost named Spooky,
Okay.
and she has this little, like castle, and it's literally Spooky's House of Jump Scares,
Mhm.
and you'll like round a corner, and then like a almost like a school bus stop sign of like a little like wooden plank of a ghost cardboard cutout will go
Mm.
boom, and then and it's just like it's kind of cute, right? Like
Mhm.
it's you're going through this place. It's very like nothing hurts you. You know what I mean? So as it goes on, though, there's this moment where like they really build this expectation of this cute little pixelated world where your biggest threat is a cardboard cutout on the wall.
And they break it.
They shatter it.
No.
Uh, the next spot, you go to this thing and there's like a vial, like a human-sized vial that's been broken open, and it says, "Subject B, has breached security."
Oh,
And that's all
no.
it says. And
Oh,
then you go
no.
through another 20 minutes of game without knowing anything about that.
Oh my god.
And then Subject B starts following you through the rooms.
Oh, I hate
And
it.
then you get to like it like transports you down to this like Japanese anime school
Okay.
where there's like the traditional Japanese anime type ghost,
Uh-huh.
like the Grudge type ghost
Ooh,
almost,
okay.
and it literally just starts floating and like chasing after you, and
Horrible.
you're just sprinting through the halls of this school in this like hellish nightmare. It's a fever dream, and
Ugh.
it just devolves so
Just
quick, and the
absolutely
graphics
no
are
reason.
still
Oh my god.
yeah, it's amazing. I never finished it, but because I got too scared.
That's
Um,
fair. I'll never play
but
this game if you got too scared.
it was incredible
Oh.
because like you said, it took the expectation
Mhm.
and just turned it on its head, and I think it's so cool when games do that.
It's very powerful.
Are
Um,
you a fan of, like, Five Nights at Freddy's?
I love
Like that
watching
is
it, but
that
I don't think I could ever play
okay.
it. I it's
That game stresses me out. That's like resource management meets survival horror.
just
It's
just
like
bad all around.
right, I'm like, "Come on."
Well, on that note, unfortunately,
I know.
we have reached the end.
I'm kinda sad about it, but it's okay. I knew the time was coming because I saw the timer in the top.
Yeah,
But I talk about Spooky's House of Jump Scares. Ellie, you need to try it out. It's
I won't,
just try it.
but I
Just try
appreciate
it.
the
It's so good.
recommendation.
No, you don't.
No, I'll look into it in some way, but I'll never play it. Um,
That's fair. That's fair.
but thank you, of course, so much for coming on the
Of
pod,
course.
especially for this special spooky
Spooky.
episode. You do spooky so well. You're great at
Hey
that.
oh, thank you, thank
You're
you.
welcome. But yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on as always. And I would love for you to let the people know where they can find you.
Yeah, for sure. Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me and Dave on. Dave, of course, I think I'm speaking
Rest in
vicariously through him.
peace. Yeah.
He's here. Hey, I'm glad I could be here. Spooky games. Ooh. Okay. Thanks, Dave. But yeah, you guys, any of your listeners can find us. It's at Jump Attack Gaming on Instagram. The podcast that we have is Jump Attack Gaming. I do some stuff on YouTube that's not labeled under Jump Attack Gaming, but it's all the same stuff. That's just under Zac Rogers.
Cool.
That's pretty much it. You know, we're Jump Attack Gaming on Instagram is the biggest one.
I
That
will link all
we're
of
kind of
them in the
promoting right now.
description anyway. So please, if you want
You rock.
more of Zach and Dave, you can find it there. But then I just had
Definitely.
to say my thanks. So thank you, my gosh, so much to my community for their never ending patience with me and my series of technical difficulties and travel and just general flakiness. um,
It
I just
happens.
like it does, life happens and the pandemic has been happening, it's still
We didn't
happening.
even put on an episode today because this week
Yeah,
got too hectic. So there you go. We
it
skipped a week.
happens. Yeah. But yeah, so also big news, as I'm sure you have all seen by this point, or I hope you all have, there's been a big rebranding for me as well. And I am now
Which looks
elementally
amazing, by the way.
thank you. I am now elementally on everything, and that is the word element and then ELLIE. And you can find that on everything: Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and I have a new domain for my site. So now that is latetothegamegang.com. And
Nice.
I'm so delighted with absolutely everything. It's far more me, and we can just, enjoy
Yeah.
all of this together.
So what
Um,
really quick before you sign off, can
yes.
I ask in front of your whole audience, what like prompted that change, like wanting to switch over?
So, hilarious story. I actually am not a fan of the color red. Um,
Fair
and
enough.
and my previous branding was called Red Ellie Gamer because it was referring to my hair, and it was like
Sure.
it was a cute thing that was like my partner and I, we had matching like name tags for all these things, like matching gamer tags and stuff. But
Right.
and then my branding was like all these like oranges and purples and stuff. And like I like orange and purple. They're a couple of my favorite colors, but I don't like pink. Um, like my whole
That's
life
fair.
is just like, I mean, you can see by this, like my tattoo, like I'm very like naturally influenced, and I love like greens and teals and stuff. Like they
Right.
make me just feel at home. And so I thought, you know, I should update. I should
That's
make my
awesome.
brand look like me. Um, so that was the reason for the change. But yeah, so you can find me
Perfect.
everywhere, elementally and latetothegamegang.com. And that is it for the Late to the Game podcast and the
Woo!
rebirth of it. Like a phoenix, we
The rebirth.
rise.
Like a giant baby with no pronouns, we
Yeah.
rise.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Zach.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Bye, everyone.
See ya.
Oh, man, we did
I
it.
don't know if I should sign off like that. We
See
did.
ya.
That was great. That was fun. See you, bitches.